Hey, it's Tony Brueski, and this is our week in review over the weekend, taking a look back at some of the most compelling conversations and stories that we've covered for you of the last week. Brand new episodes back Monday morning, bright and early, 5 a.m. here on the podcast.
This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers podcast
with Tony Brueski.
We are talking with attorney and author Kouri Richins today. We're discussing the case against Kouri Richins, a very damning search history, reminiscent almost of the Bryan Walshe case, where he was Googling, how to dispose of bodies. Not quite there, but pretty darn close. Information on Utah prisons, if police can see your deleted messages, how long life insurance companies take to pay, if cause of death can be changed on a death certificate, and then some of my favorites, searching for information on luxury prisons for the rich. And I think what kind of doctor was Dr. Pepper was also a very interesting one that she had conducted. What's your take on, is this one of those where she thought she was too smart and for some reason the obvious of, hey, they might check your search history didn't run through her mind?
I think it's interesting that people don't do that. I write true crime, so I'm always thinking, good Lord, I really hope Home Security never looks at my search history.
Well, I get that, but you write true crime. I do true crime podcasts. If they look at it, I could easily explain it. So could you. But this was someone whose husband just mysteriously kind of died. So it looks a little more questionable.
I agree. But I do think that people incorrectly really think that their search histories are private, or that or that somehow they're able to delete those search histories. And we know, I know that there were a number of, when I watched the bail hearings she had a day or so ago, there were a number of text messages that were deleted.
Yeah.
But I can tell you from my time being a defense attorney that there are programs available that can recover deleted text messages.
Of course. Yes.
And, the last thing you want is for your client who says, I didn't conspire in the death of my mother, for his text messages to his girlfriend to be recovered. That's a true story.
Yeah, I mean that's the interest, but on the outside, those of us who deal in this every day, and we hear how many stories of how people end up getting caught. That seems to be a very common one, but I don't know. It seems to be a very obvious one too. Like this would be an easy hole not to get caught in if you were just following the rules of being a killer, if there are some.
Yeah, I think that's true, but I also think that these are folks who don't travel in the same circles we do. So
sure.
Don't necessarily think, oh, I better get rid of my search history, or that might be recoverable.
Yeah, that's true. You have to put yourself in the mindset of someone who is capable of doing these sort of acts and then look through that prism. And if they're capable of doing an act like that and think that that's a balanced, good decision, there's probably going to be other decisions in their life that maybe aren't the best either, that the rest of us could easily look at and say, yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about within the Kouri Richins case, an interesting trend I've been seeing, and I'm curious to get your insight into it as well. Kouri Richins is yet another this year LDS member who killed their spouse, or allegedly killed their spouse. We have the allegations of James Craig. He was the dentist. And of course, we have Lori Vallow. And if you go back, you have Jodi Arias. And there's actually a very disproportionate number of spouse murderers in comparison to the actual population of LDS members when you look into it. And I'm not trying to bash the religion or anything like that, but is there something in the teachings? Is there something there that, when digested incorrectly, when taken out of context, that somehow to certain minds almost gives some sort of permission to go down these sort of dark paths?
I don't know. As I've been writing the book about the Vallow case, I've certainly been doing mountains of research on the LDS faith because it's such a huge component in that case.
Yeah.
I would say that there is an emphasis on personal revelation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes in the wrong hands, someone could believe that also is almost permission.
Yeah.
There is a great emphasis within the LDS faith on personal revelation. I do think that at some level it could be misinterpreted as a justification or permission. Yeah, I think so.
And I feel more so that I think in the Vallow case, that's where they were really going down that road and using it blatantly as justification. We saw messages where they were referring to, like, you will be like Nephite, who in the Book of Mormon kills someone simply because God tells them to. No real reason, but somehow that's justified. Now, in no way do I believe, like a majority of LDS are, budding serial killers or anything of that nature. It's just, I wonder if, and almost with any religion, but I think some, speak to going off the deep end a little bit easier than others, where if in the mind of the wrong person or in the hands of the wrong person, but really in the mind of the wrong person, those sort of things could be misinterpreted or used as justification for crimes. I don't know so much on the Kouri Richins case or James Craig, but at the end of the day, it's just an interesting trend that you can't deny is there.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think in the James Craig case, perhaps the LDS religion relies very heavily on a very patriarchal social structure.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think in his case, it seems a little bit more likely that perhaps personal revelation hit head on with, I'm the patriarch and I'm the one who has to make the decisions for my family. I'm the priesthood holder. I'm the person who has to make those decisions. And I think that is a much more common mindset in family annihilators.
You're locked into the Hidden Killers podcast.
Want more? Start binging on all of our true crime podcasts right now through Apple Podcasts and get an ad-free experience when you sign up to be a True Crime Today Premium Plus member exclusively on Apple Podcasts.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast dropping soon.
Press subscribe now.